Gunter, what are you getting so activated about, buddy, huh? What's going on? Oh, Gunter. Anthropos here, and welcome to another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. Because then something bad, like coronavirus, might happen to you. And I'm talking to you. Oh! Alright, here we are, broadcasting from an undisclosed location in Austin, Texas. I've got a very important episode for you this evening. It may be in more than one. It may be a part one and part two. All antics aside, this is a very serious subject matter, and in reality could actually be the ultimate conspiracy. The conspiracy to end all conspiracies. Ba-da-da-da. The conspiracy they don't want you to know about, right? And it even begs the question or introduces the idea that all these other conspiracies are obfuscation to keep your mind away from this conspiracy, which is the main underlying conspiracy of them all. Maybe. This is going to step on some people's toes. It is critical, or it criticizes the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry and the legislature and the energy industry. They're all in bed together, and I'm going to present my proofs of this to you right away by reading a document that is from a website that has a lot of conspiracy type stuff on it. Let me go ahead and grab that for you, and I'm going to read it for you. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I can't wait to get into this. Ooh. Chopping away at the establishment. Ken Adachi. Forbidden Cures by Ken Adachi, and this is on the Educate Yourself website. A lot of good stuff on there. A lot of it's kind of suppressed. Facebook censorship, right? It's censored on Facebook. All right, so here goes nothing. The name of the article is Forbidden Cures by Ken Adachi. Introduction and overview. There are a number of healing therapies that work so well and cost so little compared to conventional treatment that organized medicine, the Food and Drug Administration, and their overlords in the pharmaceutical industry would rather the public not know about them. The reason is obvious. Alternative, non-toxic therapies represent a potential loss of billions of dollars to allopathic, in parentheses, drug, medicine, and drug companies. The big three have collectively engaged in a medical conspiracy for the better part of 70 years to influence legislative bodies on both the state and federal level to create regulations that promote the use of drug medicine while simultaneously creating restrictive, controlling mechanisms, in parentheses, licensing, government approval, etc., designed to limit and stifle the ability of non-drug alternative modalities. Designed to limit and stifle the availability of non-drug alternative modalities. The conspiracy to limit and eliminate competition from non-drug therapies began with the Flexner Report of 1910. Here's a little bit of history for you. Abraham Flexner was engaged by John D. Rockefeller to run around the country and evaluate the effectiveness of therapies taught in medical schools and other institutions of the healing arts. Rockefeller wanted to dominate control over petroleum, petrochemicals, and pharmaceuticals, which are derived from coal tars or crude oil. I bet you didn't know that, did you? All pharmaceuticals are derived from coal tar or crude oil. In other words, it is paying the energy industry when you take your medicine. He arranged for his company, Standard Oil of New Jersey, to obtain a controlling interest in a huge German drug cartel called IG Farben. He pulled in his stronger competitors like Andrew Carnegie and J.P. Morgan as partners, while making other, less powerful players stockholders in Standard Oil. Those who would not come into the fold were crushed. According to a Rockefeller biographer, W. Hoffman David, Report on a Rockefeller, 1971, page 24. The report Flexner submitted to the Carnegie Foundation was titled Medical Education in the United States and Canada. Page 22 of the report said, the privileges of the medical school can no longer be open to casual strollers upon the highway. It is necessary to install a doorkeeper who will, by critical scrutiny, ascertain the fitness of the applicant, a necessity suggested in the first place, but consideration for the candidate whose time and talents will serve him better in some other vocation. If he be unfit for this, and in the second, by consideration for a public entitled to protection from those whom the very boldness of modern medical strategy equips with instruments that, tremendously effective for good when rightly used, are all the more terrible for harm if ignorantly or incompetently employed. All too often, politicians are prepared to enact laws that rob citizens of yet another constitutional freedom under the banner of public protection. Needless to say, Congress swallowed the recommendations of this report hook, line, and sinker. It was decided that the American Medical Association, the AMA, would be the doorkeeper. The AMA was now empowered to certify or decertify these different learning institutions. The AMA came into existence in 1847. It is a private organization of allopathic physicians which serves the interests of its members, especially when it comes to influencing favorable legislation. It functions in every sense of the word as a union, although its members wear white collars instead of blue. Giving the AMA the power over the certification of medical schools is the equivalent of giving the Teamsters Union the exclusive right to decide on the laws of interstate commerce and transportation. Is it any wonder that the total number of schools in the United States went from 160 in 1906, before the Flexner report, to 85 in 1920, down to 1669 schools in 1944, a little like putting the fox in charge of the hen house. Now, let me give you those facts one more time. Is it any wonder that the total number of medical schools in the United States went from 160 in 1906, before the Flexner report, to 85 in 1920, and further down to 69 in 1944. Wow. They decimated those medical schools. They lost over 50% of them, basically due to this coercion and attack, this coordinated attack. Not surprisingly, Flexner found that any discipline that didn't use drugs to help cure the patient was tantamount to quackery and charlatanism. Medical schools that offered courses in bioelectric medicine, homeopathy, or Eastern medicine, for example, were told to either drop these courses from their curriculum or lose their accreditation and underwriting support. A few schools resisted for a time, but eventually most schools cooperated or were closed down. A similar scenario was played out in Canada. It was attempted in England against homeopathy, but it failed due to the personal intervention of the royal family, who had received much relief and healing at the hands of homeopathic healers in the 19th century. By the way, the AMA found guilty of conspiracy against chiropractors in 1987 by a federal judge and fined a couple of $1 million. Here in America, a relentless campaign of misinformation, fraud, deception, and suppression of alternative therapies and healers has been in place for the better part of this century in order to keep highly effective alternative therapies from reaching any significant plateau of public awareness. Control is exerted through news items and propaganda from pro-establishment organizations like the American Medical Association, the American Cancer Society, the Diabetes Foundation, etc., local medical boards, and government agencies like the FDA, the National Institute of Health, and the National Cancer Institute, the National Academy of Sciences, etc., with the full cooperation of mainstream media, of course. Over the past decades, hundreds of caring, concerned, and conscientious alternative healers have been jailed and abused like common criminals for the crime of curing people of life-threatening diseases in an unapproved manner by heavy-handed government agents who swoop down on clinics with drawn guns, flak jackets, and Gestapo manners. All the while, these same agents and agencies posture themselves before TV cameras and the public under the ludicrous pretense of being servants of the people and protectors of the common good. Let's stop right there for a second. It looks like this article was written in 2002. So this is well before the streak of murders, the holistic doctor slayings that many of you have heard about, with Dr. Bradstreat being the most visible one, and also Dr. Garcia. Dr. Garcia was a cancer-curing doctor of celebrities. His most famous celebrity cure, I think, was Suzanne Sommers of Three's Company fame, who he cured completely from cancer using probably GC multiphage. The thing is, folks, there is so many cures for cancer, it's unbelievable. I mean, there's almost more cures for cancer than there is causes of cancer. But there are many causes of cancer. For instance, the food we eat, as you're about to find out in this article, and of course the water we bathe in, which supposedly has fluoride in it, but it's really a chemical with such a long name it takes about a paragraph to say the whole name, to spell out the whole name. This is a chemical that is illegal to put in water supplies in every country in the world except for 8, and we're one of those 8 countries. Illegal to put this. It is a toxic waste from China that costs over $50,000 a barrel to dispose of, and you bathe in it every day. It doesn't matter if you drink purified water, which you definitely should, or filtered water. You bathe in this crap every day. San Diego, California was the last city to hold out on getting fluoride put in their water. Don't let them fool you. It's not fluoride that they put in the water. It is a chemical that has a very long name, and somewhere in the middle of it is the word fluoride that they just put in there so they can tell us that they're putting fluoride in our water. If this chemical is so deadly that if you touch it with your skin, you'll die. For sure you'll die. When they put this in the water supply of the water that you may be drinking, if you drink it out of the water tap, and definitely the water that you're bathing in, unless you're Grizzly Adams and you live up in the forests and you bathe in natural spring water. Other than that, just about anywhere in America, you are bathing in this crap every day. And it is lethal, it is toxic, and it's killing you. Slowly. Slow kill. That's the whole idea with all this stuff. You know, the argument that the elite or whoever it is, the cabal, is trying to kill us, Well, what they're really trying to do is take years off of the end of your life. That is the whole agenda. To shorten the life expectancy of the human being so that we're not able to reach our full potential. And that sucks. Okay, it gets better. Wait till you hear the rest of this. So over the past decades, hundreds of caring, concerned, holistic doctors have been put in jail and stuff like that. This reached a crescendo several years ago, only just a few years ago, maybe starting about 3 or 4 years ago. And this is being widely reported, but only by one person in the world, practically. This is the case of the holistic doctors being murdered, or actually being suicided. For instance, let me give you an example. Dr. Bradstreat was warned repeatedly to quit treating people with GC multiphage, which is a protein that occurs in the human body naturally, and it's a cancer killer. That's why there are no documented cases of cancer that are over about 110 years old, because the human body is equipped to battle cancer with the GC multiphage, which is a naturally occurring protein. However, it was found out through industrialized farming and some number of years ago that the nagalase inhibitors kill the GC multiphage, therefore depriving the body of the GC multiphage, which fights off the cancer, therefore allowing the cancer to prosper, so promulgate, I guess, allowing the cancer to grow in your body. And how many people do you know who have died of cancer? How many? How many people do you know who have died of cancer? I know more than one, but I can name one for you because it's my dad. My father died of cancer, and that is why I have the right to report on this and to report to people that have cancer, have contacted cancer, or have loved ones that are dying of cancer, that there is a cure. There absolutely is a cure. Let me tell you one more time. I want everyone to understand this. I'm saying this because it's the truth. There are multiple cures for cancer. You can be cured of cancer. Even if you're in stage 4 of the deadly disease, you still can be cured of cancer almost overnight. That's the truth. Now, it may bereave you or sadden you or anger you to hear me say this. Maybe because you had a loved one, maybe a father or mother, a wife or husband, or even a child die of cancer. And to hear me telling you that they could have been saved, and they absolutely could have been, if not for this cabal of these 3 organizations and many other organizations that go along with it that have suppressed the cures for cancer. And I'll go further on to state that almost all chronic diseases have an origin in nutrition deficiency. We're the richest country in the world. We have all-you-can-eat buffets, but it's just we're not getting